Hi, today we're going to take this recycled jar and its lid and turn it into a vase with a flower frog for the lid. Hi, I'm Myra with Boutique Paint. Thank you for joining me. I have already poured resin into these molds and I'm using 3 different molds. You can choose whatever molds you love, but we are using rosettes, we are using primitive, and we are using Verdus, if I'm saying that right. Anyway, you know which one I mean. It's the new one. Anyway, I went ahead and poured, and so we're ready to pop them. And I did 2 of these. This was leftover, so we'll just go ahead and pop that and get rid of it. But I poured these because they were the right size for the lid. But that's that one. So we'll set him aside, and then we're going to pull these. I'm going to take aviary, and we'll just go ahead and start painting. And you could use whatever color. You could use the new cottage color that I love so much, and that being juniper. So before I paint these leaves, what we want to do is kind of see how this is going to lay down if I use this. And this is pretty thick. So I think what I want to do is I want to cut it right here. So I'm just going to take my scissors. And these are not a good pair of scissors. These are a funky pair of scissors. I'm just going to kind of angle it like that so that it can go like that. The first coat of paint is fairly dry. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some more of the base paint that I used on this, the aviary, and I'm going to put it on my plate. And then I'm going to take a little bit of white swan. And I'm doing, well, close to 50-50 on this. I just want a lighter tone of what I already have. I'm going to take another foam brush, and I'm just going to dip the side in so it's very light and kind of scrape it off so it doesn't have much on it. And then I'm just going to go over the top to give it a little bit more color dimension. Let's dry it and see if that does it. I think that's pretty good. It's always hard to tell until it's dry, since these dry lighter. So I'm just going to go around this entire flower. And we're going to do the same thing with the leaves. While you're waiting for your pieces to dry, go ahead and get some rubbing alcohol. Just wanting to kind of clean the glass, and then also do the same thing with the lid. The lid is actually probably most important to clean. I'll set those aside now to dry, and we will go ahead and get these waxed up, and I'm using clear wax. And it will darken back up, but it will lighten back up once it's dry. So now I think I want to put at least some dark and decrepit. This is where you just want to kind of play and see what you come up with and what you like. Just get it in there. And then we're going to grab a paper towel. We're just going to wipe it back. And it gives it even more dimension. You can see the difference. So just make sure you're working it in to the piece, because whatever is too much can just be wiped back. What I want to do now, though, is I want to clean the back of these. And the paper that I have underneath has all kinds of wax on it. And so do the back of these now. So we want to clean the wax off the back of these. And clean your hands first, too. Even though you have it on the backside, or just be careful. The reason why we're doing this is because the wax will keep it from sticking nicely. So we want to just get it cleaned off. So next we're going to work on the jar. I did put a clean piece of paper down, and we're going to do a combination of glue. We're going to use a little bit of E6000, or you could use something similar, and hot glue at the same time. The reason being is this will keep it on the glass and on the lid. The hot glue keeps it there while this is setting. So that's why I'm using a combination. And I'm just going to get this ready and get it ready to go around. And figure out the length I need. Now, if you have a big lid, you could do 2 of these. It's pretty close. So I'm going to just put some E6000 around this. But you can see that I'm leaving some gaps. I'm going to put a small dollop there. And that's where I'm going to start it. I'm just going to hold it there for a second. And on this, to hold it in place too, you could just put a rubber band around this while it's drying. I think I'll go ahead and put one there and one there real quick. Missed it. I think I'm going to see if I can get a rubber band around that. Got one of these fat ones. There we go. Little tricky, but we did it. And I'm going to do the same thing then on the lid. We'll just get a good size amount of the E6000 or glue like that, and get the hot glue. And we'll go ahead and get a dollop there, just kind of go around. And flip that right on there and make sure you get it centered. So now what we're going to want to do is to get these onto the jar. And I think I'm going to start with this one up there. Oop! That's what happens when it's set up. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my heat gun, and I'm just going to heat this up a little bit. And that makes it softer. Now you can also use a hairdryer for that. Get the tips so that they don't like pull up also. Get this spread it around a little bit. You will have to hold it for a few minutes just to get the hot glue to cool down enough to hold it in place. Now this is our broken one, so I'm going to take my paint and just get some paint on that before I glue it on. This one I'm going to have curl around. Once again, I'm going to heat it up with the heat gun because it's really hard at this point. So So before it cools down, once again, hot glue. Grabbed a couple more rubber bands because this little corner is trying to pull up. So I'm just going to go ahead and get a rubber band around that piece to hold it. And the same thing's happening here, but we're going to leave that alone for right now because we want to get all the way around this. And then we'll put rubber bands around the entire thing just to hold it until it's dry. Now that we've gone all the way around, I want to go ahead and get some rubber bands around this. All right, so we're going to set that aside, and we're going to move back to the lid. Holes in this guy. So I'm going to take my drill. So just in case you didn't know this, when you are drilling a hole, what you want your drill settings to be is on number 2. And on this little icon. Now I'm going to not want to drill all the way through by accident. I grabbed a plastic bowl. This is from a Heat and Eat dinner. And so it's what I keep to use for painting. But that way, if I drill through this, I don't care. That's exactly why. See, I even went through there. But luckily I had lots of paper. So best thing probably is to do it out on your lawn. Then you're aerating your lawn. Now you can decide how many holes you're wanting to put in this. I'm going to put 8. So in between every other flower on this, and then same thing up here, I'm doing every other. So while I'm waiting for all of this to dry, I don't really like the look of this gap here. So I'm going to go ahead and take my lid off. What I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and paint the top of this, except for to get down here. And I will go ahead, once this is dry, and put a second coat around this. And then we should be done. That is our project for this week. If you have any questions about any of the products I used, you can go to our website at www.boutiquepaint.com. And thank you for joining me.